How to handle a threatening boss without losing your job. So, listen, threatening bosses are fixture and medicine. We all know this. And if you don't know how to handle it, your work, your career will become unstable, unbearable, even. You'll start dreading even going to work. You'll feel anxious all day. You won't be able to stop thinking about work. You'll be thinking about work in the shower at 3 a.m. on a vacation. You'll find that when your brain is tired because you can never rest, you're always nervous, that your work takes longer, that you're actually making more mistakes, that you're getting in trouble more because there are more mistakes made. And this all starts repeating itself in a vicious cycle. The more depleted you are, the more threatening your boss feels. The more threatening your boss feels, the more depleted you are. It's just a vicious cycle. So, knowing how to navigate threatening bosses isn't an option in 2025. It's a skill that can protect your job, your career, your peace, your mental health, your safety. You absolutely have to have that. And I'm going to give it to you in today's podcast. What I want to start with, what doesn't work. And what I want to show this first is because it's so normal. So if you're here, I want you to be like, okay, I'm not doing it wrong, Christina. This is very normal. And because awareness is everything. Once you can spot this pattern of what doesn't work, you can help yourself with strategies that do work. So before coaching, I was here with you. I've coached hundreds, thousands of women. The first place our brain goes to when a boss threatens us is I've done something wrong. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough RVUs. I don't have papers. I don't have leadership positions. I'm not working hard enough. She wouldn't yell at me if I was doing a good job. We make everything worse by threatening ourselves, essentially. And as soon as our boss threatens us, we threaten us. There's just no good place to go. You're going to lose perspective and your suffering will be the highest right here. So, this first step is awareness. So your brain will probably go here. It will never end up in anything good, I promise. So you want to be able to intercept that fast and move it towards strategy. We are going to replace your blame and suffering with strategy that actually works. So let's look at 5 strategies to handle a threatening boss. One, this is the least common, but it kind of is the most important. So let's start there. Prioritizing safety is strategy number one. If you ever feel physically trapped or unsafe at work, your only job is to get to safety. And this will come up. Some version of it has happened several times in my career, but there was this one instance. I was my first year faculty. It was very new, and I don't think that was an accident. I think he really wanted to show me who was boss. And he was, by the way, not my boss, but like old white men tend to do, he wanted to show me who was boss early in my career. And so he came down to my office, and we all had small offices. It was probably one of the larger offices, but it was on the small side. And he barricaded himself between me and the exit door. I don't think he meant to, because it was a small office. He had blocked me into my office. I could not leave. And he was escalating, he was yelling, he was red in the face. And I remember him pointing his finger at me. And I was like, listen. We're not getting anywhere. Let's just take a break from this. Let's just take some space. That didn't help. He escalated. So I said, listen, if you're going to keep yelling and you're going to block me in my office, I'm going to have to call security. We need to bring this down. And he started escalating. He got closer to me and he was like spitting at this point, like just like yelling a lot. So I picked up the phone and said, I'm calling security right now. This is your last chance to leave my office. And that ended it. I then wound up calling the chair, and I'm sure he went to the chair too. And we kind of like expressed ourselves. We made a meeting where we could have kind of a mitigation, and we talked about it and we worked through it. We repaired our relationship. But what I want to say is, I think so many times society teaches women physicians or teaches women, if you're threatened, just be nice. It's not nice to call security. It's not like we're taught it's you're being threatened, you're bad, you're not a nice person, you're aggressive, you call security. No, no, no. If you are physically threatening me and I have given you a warning and it's escalating, I'm gonna call security. And what I want you to hear is your safety always comes first. Your safety always comes first. So if you have to call security, get HR, your chair involved, do it. And I think for us, like I want you to hear, we went through this episode and we had a meeting and we were paired and we actually wound up getting along really well after that, but we had to work through it. And there was no way I was going to work through it by just letting him yell at me in my office for an hour. Like that was not happening. Safety comes first, right? Strategy number 2, control the temperature. When your boss is yelling at you, sometimes, most times, you're going to choose not to say anything. Like, not everything needs to be a negotiation, a conflict, a yelling match. Like, really, very, like I'm saying that incident I just said in strategy number one happened once in my career. Most of the time, you're going to be like, this is not that. I'm actually not in any physical danger. I'm not going to yell right now. I'm not picking up the phone to call security. Most of the time, you're going to choose that, and that isn't wrong either. It's you creating safety. You're allowed to be on your own side no matter what you do. Where I see this go wrong is when physicians will be like, I'm not saying anything because this is already a tense issue. I don't need to make it worse. And then they'll tell themselves hours later, I should have said something. I should have yelled back. I should have called someone. I should have reported him. I should have. And they just start dumping on themselves about how they didn't do enough in a million different ways. She would never have done that to a man. If I had $1 million in grants, she wouldn't do that. We just start shaming ourselves on top of everything else. So avoid doing that. Be on your own side instead. And this is what it would sound like. I could yell back. I don't wanna. I'm choosing not to escalate this situation. I'm not bad, a doormat, doing the wrong thing by not yelling back. I'm choosing safety. I'm choosing to keep myself safe. This is my choice. I could do all these things. My intuition is telling me the best thing I can do is to be quiet right now, is to keep myself safe right now. I am in full control of my safety. This is my choice. You do not have to match the chaos of your boss. You do not have to match the threatening nature of your boss. Because your boss is actively yelling, you didn't sign enough on RVUs, doesn't mean you have to threaten yourself too, of telling yourself you're right. I'm not signing up for RVUs, and I'm also not standing up to my boss. You control the temperature, you control the room. You can choose to support yourself every step of the way. If it feels at any point it's just too hot in the room, you can leave the room. There's a million ways of doing this. I'll give you some examples, but I want to interject here. Here's where a lot of women will tell themselves, I can't leave. I have to stay. I can't cry. I need to be a big girl. I can't. When we start loading on all the things we're supposed to do, and it feels even worse. And nothing will make you cry more than telling yourself you can't cry at work. When I tell myself I can cry at work, you know what happens? I don't cry. When I tell myself, you better not cry, girl, guess what happens? I'm like crying the whole time. So if it's too hot, you actually can step out. The sentence telling yourself you can't leave is actually as damaging, if not more damaging, than your boss yelling at you. For humans to tell us we can't do something to get to our safety, there's really not much worse you can tell yourself. So I want you to hear this. You can always step out. And as a doctor, you have a million good reasons to step out. Page yourself out. You have a meeting with a clinician. You have to go to the bathroom. You have another Zoom call you have to go on. You have to check on your kids. The daycare just called. There's a million ways that you can get out. And if your safety's at risk, you need to find a way to get out. It's not avoidance. It's safety. It's wisdom. It's maturity. And if you're like, well, why are you lying? You don't really need to use the bathroom. You can use the bathroom. Go use the bathroom. Go sit in the bathroom. Go wash your face. Go freshen up, go put on some lipstick, go take a deep breath. You're not lying. You are choosing to keep you safe. And by the way, if it's a very tense situation, you're stressed out about to cry and your boss is actively yelling at you, she might need a break too. Like sometimes the most mature thing you can do is hold on. I need to collect myself. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Strategy three, get specific about the threat. So what I see often is when an example would be a schedule comes out, the woman physician does not love it. And then her brain says, this isn't fair. I'm not doing a good enough job. I'm not a good employee. This is all my fault. I always screw up every time. Sexism, favoritism, nepotism, J code, the government, the economy, global warming. We go from a schedule for the month of December out to global warming. And that can happen really fast, especially if you've done that over and over and over again. And that's a story that will burn you out faster than the actual schedule. Be specific about the threat. We are not talking, if your brain is trying to solve global warming, COVID-19, politics, JCO, the economy, and the schedule, there's just no way you're winning. So you want to start to recognize I need to be specific about the threat. The threat is not global warming. The threat is these 14 days of service in December. That's a threat. Doesn't that feel so much more manageable? The threat is I've got 14 days on the GI service when I was supposed to have 10 or whatever it is for you. And this is feeling so much more manageable than global warming. Be specific. I also want to say with this is stay strategic. This schedule stinks for the month of December, at least 20 days I'm in clinic. Now that's true and manageable. And you also want to ask yourself what else is true here. Okay, we're 8 faculty down. The holidays, everyone's taking off. Everyone's schedule is actually overloaded. None of us have a great schedule right now. And while I could get another job, I really don't want to. I'm not in the, I just don't want to. I don't want to be interviewing through the holidays. I want to just, I love my house. I love the schools that my kids are in. There's a lot, I have my friends here. Ask yourself what else is true here. Find your options. You can always leave this job. No one is forcing you to stay in this job. You can always leave. You can always negotiate. You can always say, hey, listen, I'm going to go down to part-time hours. I need to cut my FT. We need to talk about different arrangements. You can choose to make it work. You can choose to quit medicine. You have all the options in the world. What is your choice when you see all these options? If you're choosing to stay, just be honest about the whole situation. And this is what it would sound like. I do not love the schedule and I don't have to stay. I am choosing to stay. Of all my options, I am choosing to stay. And I'm now my work is how do I make this easier for me? While we're 8 faculty down, how do I make this easier for me? Here's what will make it easier for you: strategy, support, therapy, coaching, family, spending more time out of the office with your friends, with your spiritual religious connections, with your medical school friends, being on your own side. I promise you, the hours spent berating yourself, replaying conversations, rereading emails, counting cases, days, shifts, all of that can be grossly wasted because it doesn't really fix anything. It just drains your time. You'll only feel worse about it when you feel even more inferior and shamed and judged. And you go back to your job and your boss, your threatening boss, has something not nice to say. You will feel just worse. It's that vicious cycle all over again. So we want to insert boundaries, coaching, therapy, rest, fun, date nights, adventure, travel with your girlfriends, supportive people. That's the real medicine here. Stay specific, stay strategic. Here's your last strategy: work around, not against your boss. So if your very common sentiment, new clients with me will say is, I'm pursuing coaching because my boss will not give me support. And here's my answer to all of it is that, we want bosses who support us 100%. And if you have that, praise. We love it. We love it for you. But it's very common for humans to feel like my boss is not giving me support I need, which just feels like it's just a very big statement. It's very hard to fix. Feels terrible because humans actually need support. So the strategy here is work around, not against your boss. So the idea is if your boss can't give you, like, figure out very specifically what is the support you're looking for. Ask your boss. If your boss can't give it to you, find other ways to make it happen. I'll give you an example here. Is when I first started, I looked to my boss as a mentor. I was like, okay, she's going to help me. I want to get promoted. She's going to help me with speaking opportunities. And she really didn't. And at first I thought, well, maybe she doesn't think I'm a good speaker. Maybe she doesn't think I know what I'm talking about. Maybe she just doesn't like me. And the further I went there, I realized, oh, she doesn't have any to give. Like, she's just barely getting her own speaking opportunities, which are very valuable to her for her reputation, where she's going with her career, of course. Don't have to fault her for it, but she doesn't really have extras to give. And so when I realized that it's not personal, it's that she's maxed out on what she can give, I started working around her, working sideways. I collaborated with my girlfriends at other institutions across the country, and we just invited each other for exchange invited lectureships and got some exchange trips and exchange papers. And I got so many of them, I started giving some to my boss, who really loved it because she wanted to speak more. She just didn't know how. Her network was much smaller. So I was able to grow my relationship with my boss while helping her in something valuable and getting what I need. The same can be true. We have lots of examples of this in the program. It's very common for physicians, especially pathologists, who are office spaces where we spend most of our days, to feel their office is threatened. And this can happen legitimately. It has nothing to do personally, but it could be like the hospital's always trying to take back space for patient rooms for, billable procedures and hours, they wanted to take back these pathology spaces. And so pathology spaces are often under fire. But I think it's really true just for any person in the hospital. And one client came to me, like her space was actively being taken away. And we just realized, okay, the threat is not, I mean, okay, there's this threat with the boss, but what's being threatened is a question you need to ask yourself. Specifically, what's under threat, and then find a way to make that secure the threat, secure the thing you're trying to protect. So she was one of this office. What we wound up doing is helping her buy a beach house, hired an interior decorator to just decorate the heck out of that place. We helped her negotiate a 4-day week. Every Friday, she's at the beach. Every Monday, she's at the beach. Every day is like a 3-day week. She was able, like, she was feeling threatened because she really wanted to protect her office, but she just was mistaken that she thought she'd had this really amazing office at the hospital. Hospitals don't have amazing offices, they have various size closets with gross furniture and grosser wall decorations. Am I right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a nice office in the hospital. They're always like the furniture's from the warehouse from the 1980s. Nothing looks okay. Carpet is like nothing you would ever buy. So she was feeling threatened at the office. We just went ahead and got her an amazing home office that she could control. Another client, she really wanted to get promoted, and why? She wanted a raise. She was not being, her institution didn't pay well until you got a raise. And her boss said, we'll never give you a raise. She joined our program and we found 10 different ways to get over $100,000 that year because we worked around her boss, not against her boss. Now, when she got her raise, she was, this other person got her office, and I got my lectureships. We're so much happier in her job. So much more fun to be around, created so much more value for the institution. And the relationship with our bosses can get better once the thing that you feel threatened about, you can secure. You will stop feeling threatened when you stop waiting for your boss to feed your career and you can get everything you want without them. And it's a really baller move to then be able to give things back to your boss. Like, hey, I have an invited lecture I can't make. Would you like to take it? Right? When you can kind of be the boss to your boss. Really power move. Okay, so here are your journal prompts for this week. Journal prompts from this week exercises. Number one, what exactly are you feeling most threatened about right now? Is it schedule, time, pay, bonus, office, something else? Be specific. Don't say yes to all of it in global warming and JACO. No, no, no. What is it specifically that you're feeling threatened about? One sentence, one thing, one word. Question two is, what are 3 different ways that you can get that without depending on your boss? Challenge your brain. Like, what if there was a way to get a yes? By the way, your boss sometimes is the worst person to say yes because they can't even say yes. They don't have the resource. They're managing 500 other people. Who's the person who can say yes? Who would it be an easy yes? Find 3 different ways to get the thing you want. Number three, what's your plan when if you were ever physically threatened at work, what would the plan be? Like, just go ahead and decide. I'm going to call security. I'm going to give them a warning. I'm going to call 911. Like, what is the plan be? You may never ever, you likely will never use it, but your body needs to hear you have a plan if you're ever physically threatened or assaulted by a colleague or your boss. Like, your boss throws a stapler at your head. Like, these are all things I've seen. Like, you need to have a plan. You need to decide now, give yourself permission now. You are allowed to leave any room where you're in danger. You're allowed to page yourself out, go check on a call, go have an extra meeting, go check on your kids' call, like whatever you need to do. You need to have a plan for when you feel threatened, and it has to involve an exit plan. It is no longer okay to say, I'm not allowed to leave a room if I'm in danger. That's actually what's making your boss threatening more than your boss being threatening is you threatening yourself. So we need to have this plan. All right, number four, what specific thought about your boss is draining you the most this week? What would it look like to be fair to you? Thoughts, feeling, actions. And number five, how could you make your workday 10% easier starting today? In closing, threatening bosses exist in every system, this job and the next. Of course, you can leave this job to another job, but you may find another threatening boss there. Of course, you can stay and make this job work 100%. You're not going to be able to remove these people from the planet, but you can overcome their threat through strategy. Today, you got 5 boss level iconic strategies to overcome threatening bosses because you deserve a career you feel safe in, no matter who is in charge. If this is the work that you would love to do with more personalized support, make sure you book your free sales call below. You can get started on my program as soon as this week. See you next time. Bye.